Hey guys, what's up? This is Anthony of the Lavender Town Project, and this is going to be the third attempt, I believe, to making this frickin' video. I was trying to do Ash's Coma Theory. I told you guys in my last video that that would be the next Pokemon video that I would do, was Ash's Coma Theory. And I didn't necessarily, think I was going to do my next Pokemon video as my next video in general, but I tried. The first time, what the hell happened the first time? I believe the camera fucked up, and then the second time, I just stopped, because, okay, if you've seen Ash's Coma Theory on the Creepypasta website, you'll know that it is a very long theory. However, I didn't know that it was super freaking long. Now, like, I didn't really scroll down, I just kinda, looked at it and I was like, damn, this is long. But, I can't memorize it, so instead I tried to read it off. It took me 20 minutes to get through a third of it. That means it would have taken me an hour of me rambling and reading to you something that you could have just read yourself. And even then, it would probably take a good 30 minutes to read it. So yeah. So this is my third attempt of making this video. Now, when I made Ash's Coma Theory the first time, or I tried, it was about 2 days ago. So, I'm not exactly fresh, but I have a good-ass memory, so I will try to remember what I read. Now remember, I've only read a third of it, but it's not really a kind of theory that has, like, a story mode from beginning to end. It's just mostly an explanation of how the theory ties into modern science and logic and stuff like that. Now, it's actually really interesting, and it's very well written, but I'm just gonna throw down the basics for you like I did in the Pokemon War Theory, maybe give more opinions on it. This is probably what I'm going to be start doing with creepypastas, is I'm going to be giving you guys my take on it. It's just a lot easier, and it's, it's a lot different and refreshing than a lot of YouTube channels, what they do. Not trying to be a dick to them, but I didn't think reading it off would be such a good idea, especially if it was gonna take an hour. And, shit, if I threw that in my editing software, that would have taken about 8 hours to load. Like, not even to edit, just to load the fucking thing. It would have taken 8 hours. So, yeah, no. Anyways. So, yeah, this is Ash's Coma Theory video. My last video, I tried to put some images over the, visual so you wouldn't have to look at me the whole time. Unfortunately, that didn't work. Reasons being that, it was in MP4 because obviously I upload on my iPod. I need to get a new camera, or a real camera. And, secondly, when I tried to use my video converter to put it into a WMV format, the converter cut off my audio, so I wasn't really happy about that. So I'll try to mess with it more, see if I can do that for this video. Looks like I won't be able to, but I'll try to make this as fast as I can. So let's get right to it. Ash's Coma Theory. What the hell is this about? Now, a lot of you guys have told me to do this video, and so a lot of you guys probably know what it's about. If you told me to do it and you don't know what it's about, well, that's a good start too. Alright, let's get to it. So, Ash's Coma Theory is basically surrounding the idea that after the first episode of Pokemon, Ash Ketchum, our hero and savior of, Pokemon or whatever, got struck by lightning, and fell into a coma, and every episode since the first episode is basically, the product of him being in a coma. Basically his dreams. I mean, it's been scientifically proven that people can dream while being in a coma. Not sure how that was proven, but, I do know that there are machines that are able to scan your brainwaves and whatnot, so it's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I almost said that's pretty creepy. Yeah, that is kind of pretty creepy, but anyways, so That's basically the, basic of the theory. Now, getting into the more immaculate parts of it. So basically, if you haven't seen the first episode or you haven't watched it in a long time like me, luckily I have a good memory, as I said, so I can recall most of what happened in the episode. Let me start with that. So, the first episode of Pokemon starts with Ash. He's in his room watching Professor Oak on TV. He's all excited. He's finally 10 years old. He's going to get his first Pokemon the next day. He's so excited. He throws his clock at the wall because it looks like a Pokeball. He's acting like he's a trainer and shit. Next day, he wakes up late because he broke his clock on accident. He runs to his pajamas to Professor Oak. He gets his first Pokemon. He doesn't know what to choose. Luckily, Professor Oak has a fourth Pokemon in a special Pokeball. And this Pokeball obviously contains an ill-tempered and very untrained Pikachu. Ash, being a retard who just wants a Pokemon, let alone something that's different from everybody else, grabs the Pikachu. Alright, so he tries to train the damn thing. He doesn't want to listen to him for crap. The Pikachu's mostly a dick to him. When he tries to fight other Pokemon or catch them, it doesn't work. He tries throwing a Pokeball at a Pokemon, but it's too healthy, so it just swats it back to him. Pikachu doesn't want to do anything, so he tries to attack. I think it was a Pidgey. I think he tried to attack a Pidgey with his jacket, and it used Gust or Whirlwind and made him fly or whatever. He gets pissed at that. Then he throws a rock at a Spearow. Now, the Spearow is a little bitch, so the Spearow calls its family because it's crying because it can't handle its own, even though that it's a superpowered bird. So, a whole bunch of Spearows start flocking to Ash. He's like, holy crap. So, he gets on a bike that he got from his new friend that he met, Misty, which is a gym leader in Cerulean City. He steals her fricking bike and throws Pikachu on it, and they go for a ride as fast as they can through Viridian Forest, and they're trying to get to Viridian City. The reason that they're trying to get to Viridian City is because all the Spearows beat the shit out of Pikachu, if I do remember correctly. Basically Pikachu sees that Ash is getting pummeled by the Spearow, so Pikachu actually gets some nuts and, likes Ash for some reason. Suddenly, he jumps off of his shoulder and makes a huge-ass lightning bolt that basically electrifies all the Spearow as well as Pikachu and Ash because it couldn't control its own power. So, now, that's mostly the end. There's a little bit more after where I think Ash wakes up and then he sees Ho-Oh flying. Now, this is basically where people start thinking that that's where the coma theory starts. Is where basically after the lightning bolt, he's in a coma. And then following that, he still thinks that he's in Viridian City. So he wakes up, and then he sees a magical Pokemon that doesn't even exist yet, flying overhead, all golden and shit, with rainbows. So yeah, it already seems that it's a little bit off, topic. And as the creepypasta suggests when you read it, it even says, why do you think that the Pokemon, suddenly had a big-ass change from the first episode and onwards, So, yeah, that's interesting, too. Now, basically, let's get into how this theory is supposed to work, as far as I remember, anyways. So, now a rival... Basically, he's made up a rival in his mind. Now, a lot of the people in the coma are based off real people that he knew before. And some people that are in the coma, in the dream that he's having, are based off real people that he's heard of before, but has never seen, or has seen before, but has never met. Such as Brock, for instance. He's never met Brock, but he's probably heard of him and seen him being the Pewter City gym leader. So, knowing that, he kind of puts two and two together and figures out he remembers what Brock looks like and kind of makes a own personality for Brock. And he basically makes his own personalities for everybody else that he meets after the first episode. Now, speaking of Brock, as far as it's talked about in the creepypasta, a male, usually the male, but mostly Brock, that is teamed up with him is usually pertain to Ash's sexuality. And I'm not talking about homosexuality, that Ash likes Brock or that Brock likes Ash. I'm talking about sexuality to the point of where you always see Brock, you know, horny as fuck, basically, essentially, wanting to, you know, do every girl, basically, that he comes in contact with. Now this is a reference to Ash's sexuality, being that he is a growing boy. Now obviously through the coma, you're still alive, and you're still growing, and you still have hormones raging. You're just not conscious and aware of it. But in your dream, obviously, those hormones are still flowing, you know, you still have chemicals going through your brain. So this is to reference the sexuality that Ash is growing up, and as a male, it's basically his body's way of reaching out. Because your mind is a very powerful object, obviously. It's his mind's way of reaching out to the girls that look to be real in the dream, that, you know, he wants to mate with them, or he wants to date them, or, you know, he wants to have a romantic relationship with them, you know, etc. So that is a part of, Brock is centrally a part of Ash's representation of sexuality. Now, this is also represented by Misty and most other female protagonists that team up with him later on in the series. But the reason I say Misty is because we're mostly dealing with the first generation here. And Misty, I believe, you see her in a few other later episodes, you know. Of course you see Brock, you know. Now, with Misty, it's basically the opposite of Brock. Instead of substituting for Ash, you know, instead of Ash not being the one himself to go after these women, it's Brock, as, you know, Ash is still not sure if he's comfortable with this new growing process, you know, being still asleep and whatnot. You know, he can't really think consciously. You know, it's kind of like having a lucid dream. You're kind of in control, but not really, you know. So, Misty is basically the jailbait, if you will, because, yeah, she is underage, but so is Ash. But the reason I say jailbait is because, you know, I'm just trolling here, but basically, he wants to form a romantic relationship with her, or any other female that has the same goals as him, and stuff like that, that he would like, in that way, you know. And so, most other women protagonists after Misty are also in this you know, role, I guess. Now, Misty does go with Ash for most, if not all, I recall, of the second generation episodes. But then, of course, you have May in the third generation, Dawn in the fourth generation, and so forth. Now, let me see. Professor Oak. Now, Professor Oak is an interesting one, and Professor Oak is basically reference to Ash's father figure, which he never had. And obviously, being a Pokemon researcher, and I wouldn't say a failed Pokemon master, but Professor Oak isn't exactly all that good with training Pokemon. That is a ultimate goal for Ash, and by putting Ash's ultimate goal into the personality of his father figure, that makes it even a stronger bond for him. You know, and being in a coma, you know, you obviously need that stronger bond to make the connection, because it's a lot harder to make connections when you're only semi-aware of, you know, your surroundings or whatnot. So, in short, Professor Oak is Ash's father figure. Now, as far as his rival, now, Ash's rival is a reference, or basically an embodiment, I should say. I don't know why I've been saying reference. Is a, sleep-induced embodiment, let's just say that, for technical terms. Woo, that sounds nice. Nice, okay. So it's an embodiment of a reason for Ash to keep going in the league, you know, in the Pokemon League, and, you know, fighting all the gym leaders and going on with his progress, because he needs somebody that's always ahead of him, or that seems that he's always ahead of him, to try to achieve his goals. Now, this is also, you know, a reason why, it's basically the same reason that you play the games, you know, the Pokemon games, is because if you play the first games, at least the first generation games, you'll notice that your rival is always ahead of you, even from the start, picking the Pokemon that you are weak against, or that is super effective against you. And so from then on, he's always ahead of you, even when, you know, you're at the elite floor and everything, he's already there, and you have to fight him, you know. Now, even though Gary and Blue aren't exactly the same person, unless you're talking about the Pokemon Origins anime, Gary is basically, essentially the same thing, where he is used to, he's basically, usually, if not always, in front of Ash. And, you know, he is a bit of a dick in the beginning, but that's just a way for Ash to get his, you know, his plans off the ground to try to better himself. Because Ash is 10, he doesn't have a lot of goals, he doesn't know what the fuck to do. I mean, ask any 10-year-old on the street, hey, what would you do if you were, you know, going around the world with other, you know, 10-year-olds and, you know, pets? What the fuck would you do, you know? So that is basically a reason for him to keep going. And then, of course, when his rival's not around, he has other reasons to keep going, such as meeting new people, fighting new trainers, trying to get to the Elite Four, which he always does, but always never frickin' wins. He's gotten into the top 16, the top 8, the top 4, but he's never frickin' won. So that's kind of a cock block. But, yeah. Now, this is also evident by the fact that in later parts of the anime, Gary actually becomes a professor. Now, this is to symbolize that Ash does not want to demonize Gary or keep demonizing him, as he wants to see Gary not only as a way to keep going on, but also, you know, a friend that's not a friend. You know, somebody that you know, that you can count on, you know, that has the same interests as you, but is not, you know, always with you and stuff like that, you know. So that is basically Gary's role. That's Professor Oak's role, you know, Brock's and all the other male protagonist roles, and Misty along with all the other female protagonist roles. So those are covered. Now, Team Rocket is a very interesting one. Interesting. What the fuck is interesting? Anyways, so they are very interesting for the fact that in the first episode, I don't know if you come in contact with Team Rocket. I don't remember, but in the very first episodes, Team Rocket, according to this creepypasta, are a lot more, you know, what's the word that I'm looking for? Basically hostile to Ash. They're a lot more dicks to him, basically. And they're a lot more, you know, serious with their goals. Now, as the series goes on, you know that Team Rocket starts coming up with stupid-ass ideas that never work and are obviously flawed from the beginning. But this is, you know, just a product of a 10-year-old, or by now, depending on how far the series is along, a preteen or teenager's, you know, dream state, like, version of people that he's heard of. Basically, the Team Rocket that was probably very evil and probably very knowledgeable in real life are now, you know, in his dream, are, yeah, still evil, but they are able to be defeated by him, so he can keep going on with his adventure, and that it won't stop him in his tracks. And they're also a product of him being young and being innocent. It's a product of his innocence, essentially, where they're not as evil as they're made out to be in real life. They're more like, yeah, they're dicks and everything, but they're stupid as fuck, and, you know, whatnot. But in real life, you know, even, you know, Jesse and James being, like, what, 17? You know, they're still way smarter than a fucking 10-year-old. You know, so, well, hopefully. At least Jesse is. James is a little retarded. And, so that's Team Rocket's main role, is also forwarding the progress of the anime, but also being somebody that he can defeat, and who's not so evil and so scary to him, you know. Now, yeah, that's basically what Team Rocket does. And now, as time goes on, you learn more of James's backstory, that he's actually, you know, more sympathetic and nice to Pokemon, as, you know, opposed to Jessie, where she's just a dick and doesn't give a shit, basically. And that is a reference to Ash's innocence, you know, still trying to hang on, where, you know, even though that, you know, Jessie and James are growing up, they're getting a lot older, or whatever, you know, and smarter, that James is still, you know, part of his innocence, reflecting his innocence, where he's still nice to Pokemon. You know, there has to be a little bit of good inside every evil, basically. And so this is also represented by the fact that Meowth can frickin' talk. Now, the fact that Meowth can talk is basically a reference that, also the innocence thing, that, you know, something that can talk is not necessarily evil, even though that it is in fact a dick. Meowth is probably one of the. If I had a Meowth of a cat as a cat, I would have spayed his ass a long time ago, or neutered his ass, whatever. So that's Team Rocket's main goal or purpose in the series. Now, this Coma Theory is also a very good idea of why Ash never ages or ages very slowly. And it's also a very good reason why, even though he keeps going through all these regions, yeah, no one ever grows up, and no one ever seems to frickin' know much more than, hey, there's a new region, or hey, there's a new Pokemon, It's always the same shit. This is also a reason why all the Pokemon centers and gyms look exactly the same, even though that in real life they probably wouldn't. I mean, every gym and every hospital in real life does not exactly look the same at all. Not even close, And this is also why, of course, Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny look the same, because, they're the only ones that he's heard about from his own town. And, to, substitute the millions of other nurses and officers out there, he just throws them in as Nurse and, Joy and, what's her name? Jenny. I almost said Jessie. Goddamn. Now, there's a lot more that this creepypasta will go on about. But these are, the main things to talk about. These are basically the main points to bring up. Now, as I said, this creepypasta is a long-ass one. And even though that I've been talking about it in my own words and my own memory, and I haven't even eaten breakfast yet, and I think I've done a pretty good job of this video, if I do say so myself, but it's already almost 22 minutes long. And, I still have to throw in, well, it's probably a little bit more than 22 minutes by now with the intro and the outro and everything, but I have to throw that in yet, so. But yeah, if you want to read the creepypasta yourself, go ahead. It delves a lot more into this than what I got to, and I'm actually, surprised that I remembered a lot of those main things, but, yeah, so, basically off that knowledge, it is a very, very nicely written pasta. Now let's get to my theories and opinions. Yes, it is. I do believe that is a good way to transcribe the fact that nobody is fucking aging. That's a good idea. As the Coma Theory itself, now being struck by lightning, I do see how that ties into the anime very well. That he would be in a coma, So I would consider this a creepypasta that you could take seriously, basically a credible pasta, that could, be a real possibility. Like, for instance, let's say that the Pokemon series ended, and when it ended, let's just say the last episode shows Ash as a 10-year-old, or maybe a little bit more grown up, in a hospital bed, and everybody's around him, and that's just the end. Well, for one, everybody would be raging. What the fuck is this? Everybody would be pissed off. But secondly, the more serious note, how would you think about that? Now, if it actually realistically ended, where Ash was in a hospital bed and the whole Coma Theory was true, where this creepypasta did a damn good job of explaining how every tiny little, basically every tiny little, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but every little thing in the anime will tie into it pretty well, that it could actually be a real possibility. So, if you think on terms of, every time you watch the series, just think to yourself that this is a coma. And then every little thing that you see, just, tie it into the creepypasta, see how it relates. You'll find that a lot of it relates to the creepypasta very well. Some of it may not, but, then again, this is just a fucking theory, it's just a creepypasta. It's not real. But what if it is? What if the last episode shows Ash in that hospital bed? He is indeed in a coma. Well then shit. So many people are going to be so pissed. Some will probably be happy because the creepypasta is, well, true. Which is a very off chance. And that's if the anime series even does end. I mean, everything has to come to an end eventually, but let's just say another fucking 100 years down the road when there's 7,000 Pokemon to catch and Ash is like a 40-year-old man, and shit. Still going after 10-year-old girls. Oh god. And stuff like that. But yeah, that's very interesting to think about, yeah, a lot of people would be happy and pissed, but I'm not talking about, you know, that. I'm just talking about, yeah, I could see that as a very plausible theory to the whole series. Now, I can't really speak a lot because I've only seen a few episodes from the first series, and, you know, a bunch of scattered episodes that I've just flipped on Cartoon Network every now and then, or whatever, or Boomerang, whatever, and I've caught. Main reason why I know a lot of the storyline is because I've watched every single Pokemon movie that's came out. Well, up until last year. Me and my ex, which, if you guys have been on the channel for a long time, you remember Angie. She's done a couple videos with me. Me and her watched every Pokemon video, or movie, including Pokemon Origins. But that was only up to that point. I think another couple movies have came out by now. I need to brush up on what's going on. But, yeah, I've played most of the games, or the older games, anyways, and I've watched every movie. So I kind of know my shit, in some aspects, not it. But, yeah, so tell me, those are just my personal theories, sprinkled on this creepypasta. Tell me what you guys think about this whole Ash's Coma theory. I didn't want this fucking video to go this long, and once again, it's probably going to take me a good 6 hours to even load this, let alone edit it. So yeah, that's going to suck, but I have all the time in the world for you guys. So yeah, tell me what you think. Tell me what you guys thought of me interpreting this, you know, without even reading it. And without me, I'm surprised I remembered all this. And tell me what you think about the pasta itself. Of course, give me your own personal opinions. Maybe cite some sources from, you know, the games or the manga even, or the anime itself, pertaining to how this could or could not work, you know, stuff like that. So, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I know I always say this in my outro anyways, the new outro that I made. Speaking of that, I actually need to fix the outro ending. I'm gonna, you know, experiment with a lot of the editing that I've been doing lately, so it's gonna get better progressively. So yeah, the audio won't be all, you know, different heights and shit. You won't have to like, oh shit, that hurts, and throw out your freaking earphones and then notice that your earphones are broken and shit, you know. So but yeah, I'm trying to fix my editing. But anyways, yeah, as I say in my intro, like and subscribe to become a citizen of Lavender Town today. And I will see you guys later on my next video, which I will probably be doing somewhat after this video, because it is not really a normal video. The next video that I will be doing is a video, it's an update video mostly, but I will be talking about Martin in it for a couple reasons. I will be talking about Paul, which is a new addition to the Lavender Project, the Lavender Town Project. Damn, I haven't said that in a while. Lavender Project, yay! I will also be talking about some weird shit that happened yesterday and last night. I guess it would be considered Ghost Entry 19. And also fan funding. Getting better equipment to do the videos from you guys. Now that's an interesting thing, and I will be bringing that up in my next video. So yeah, as I said, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys on another video from the Lavender Town Project. Bye!
We'll be right back.